let me deliver the goods. It's time for operation number 742. That's right, operation number 742. Show 742 already for the Renegades of Puck. And at this moment in hockey history, we are racing towards the finish line of the season end. The Nashville Predators currently find themselves in 5th place in the Central Division. They have skated in 78 games, 4 games to go. I cannot believe it. They have 40 wins, 30 losses, 8 overtime losses. They have 88 points on the season on the road, which is where the Preds' next game will take place. They have a record of 19-16-4. They have scored 219 goals. They have given up 227. That's a goal differential of -8. Now, the Nashville Predators' next opponent happens to be in the Central Division, and it also happens to be the most important game of the season for the Nashville Predators, and frankly, for their opponent, the Winnipeg Jets, as well. You see, the Winnipeg Jets have skated in the same number of games as the Nashville Predators, 78. Their record is 43-32-3. They have 89 points, 1 point ahead of the Nashville Predators. Tell you how that comes into play here in just a second. On home ice, a very good record, 24-13-2. They have scored 234 goals in the season. They have given up 218 goals. They have a goal differential of +16. Now, let me give you the updated Central Division standings just to make you wait a little bit longer to talk about the wild card. The Dallas Stars are currently in first place, but they are tied with the Colorado Avalanche, each team with 100 points. The Minnesota Wild just 2 points back at 98. Then we find Winnipeg and Nashville battling it out in the wild card race. Winnipeg currently at 89 points. Nashville is at 88. St. Louis, Arizona, Chicago, all with the little E next to their name, which means their season is done, other than, well, frankly, skating out the remaining of games in their schedule. Now, what you've been waiting to get the update on is the wild card, and this truly is wild. Now, Seattle picking up a victory tonight in wild card 1 slot, 96 points now. That puts them 7 points clear of the second place. That means Seattle's taken the first wild card spot, although not officially clinched yet. They will be doing so very, very soon. Now, Winnipeg in the second wild card spot in the Western Conference at 89 points. This is where things get incredibly fascinating. The Calgary Flames also at 89 points, but due to tiebreaker on the outside looking in. And then the Nashville Predators at 88 points. And this is something I did not think that we would be able to say at any point in time this season. The Nashville Predators now control their own playoff destiny. 88 points is outside of the wild card looking in right now, but they have head-to-head matchups coming up this weekend against Winnipeg and then on Monday in Calgary. So the Nashville Predators have head-to-head matchups against both of the teams they would need to jump over in order to get that last playoff spot. If the Preds win out, they're in automatically. So for the Nashville Predators, let's talk about what's left on the schedule, and let's break down this very significant and important game on the schedule for the Preds. Remainder of the schedule: Monday in Calgary, again, critically important. Thursday versus Minnesota. Friday versus Colorado. Now, with Colorado being tied for first and Minnesota being 2 points out of first, we'll have to see how things are going. Both of those games could be for the division title. Nashville Predators not looking necessarily to play spoiler, but the Preds are going to probably need those points, and Minnesota, Colorado more than likely not going to be in a position to shut it down with as close as the 3-team weave is at the top of the Central Division. So this is the fourth and final regular season meeting between the Nashville Predators and the Winnipeg Jets. Let's take you back and recap the season series. It was back on December the 15th when the teams met for the first time. It was in Winnipeg. The Jets came away with a 2-1 victory in overtime. UC Saros, 39 out of 41. Connor got the overtime game-winning goal. We go into January, and it's the 24th when Winnipeg is in Nashville. The Predators score a 2-1 victory, this time in regulation. Saros, 32 of 33. It was Glass and Jeannot scoring the goals for the Nashville Predators. Fast forward to March the 18th, and it would be the Nashville Predators falling at Bridgestone Arena to the Winnipeg Jets in overtime, this time of a score of 3-2. UC Saros took the loss, 31 out of 34. It was Glass and Evangelista scoring the goals for the Nashville Predators. So the Preds have been outscored in the 3 games by a score of 6-5. but they have managed to pick up 4 of 6 points due to losing in 2 overtime scenarios. So this will close out the regular season series. A clean victory in regulation for the Nashville Prers will put them ahead of the Winnipeg Jets, and depending on how Calgary's result also works out on Saturday, the Nashville Prers could go into the Calgary game ahead in the playoff race in the wild card spot, defending from the high ground. Now, for the Winnipeg Jets, let's talk about their most recent stretch of hockey and how that's going to impact this matchup. Back on March the 25th, they had a 4-1 loss at the LA Kings. Followed that up on the 28th with a 3-0 loss at the San Jose Sharks. On the 31st of March, to close out the month, a 6-2 win versus Detroit. And then this is the one that was highly improbable, a 6-1 win versus the New Jersey Devils on the 2nd of April. And most recently, a 3-1 loss versus Calgary. That was on April the 5th. Now, the Nashville Prers injury situation is definitely going to be impacting this game, but for the Nashville Prers, it has simply been next man up, and they've never been closer to the playoffs, so there's no reason to think they're not going to just continue that. The captain, Roman Josi, is still rumored to potentially be coming back before the end of the season. Not heard much on Smith or Luzon. Carrier, Forsberg, Parson, don't expect we're going to be seeing any of them the remainder of the season. Now, let's talk about the numbers and the matchup in the NHL rankings between these two teams. Again, this is one incredibly important game in the Western Conference. Now, Nashville Prers goals for 2.74 per game. That's 27th overall in the NHL. Now, Winnipeg 2.99. That's 22nd in the NHL. So very close there in goals for. In goals against, 12th overall in the league for the Nashville Prers at 2.88 per game, while Winnipeg is giving up 2.78 per game. That is 10th. So again, another metric where they're incredibly close. Team separated by 1 point in the standings and very, very close in most of the statistical metrics. In the shots for category, the Preds have struggled to generate shots on net this season. 29.6 is 24th overall in the NHL, while the Winnipeg Jets 30.4 shots on net is 20th overall, best in the league. 33.2 is the shots against for the Nashville Prers, 27th overall in the NHL. Shots against for Winnipeg 30.5, that's 10th best in the league. When it comes to special teams, again, these two teams are very, very similar and very close. Power play 18.1%, conversion rate for the Nashville Prers, it's 27th in the league, 43 out of 238, while the Winnipeg Jets 19.2% conversion rate, that's 24th in the league, 50 out of 259 opportunities. Now, the penalty kill, the Nashville Prers incredibly good PK recently, 81.8% kill rate on the season, has them 10th overall in the league, 48 power play goals against. Now, the Winnipeg Jets have an 82.1% kill rate. That's 6th best in the league, 39 power play goals against. Now, the individual statistics and the top 5 scores for each team in the expected goaltender matchup, and it is one hell of a goaltender matchup. Let's start with the home team, the Winnipeg Jets. Connor, 31 goals, 48 assists, 79 points, usually feasts against the Nashville Prers. Morrissey, 15 and 56 for 71. Scheifele, also an incredibly impactful offensive player, not only just for the Winnipeg Jets, but against the Nashville Prers. 39 goals in the season, 25 assists, 64 points overall. Dubois, 26 and 35 for 61, and Wheeler, 16 and 38 for 54 in net. Connor Hellebuck, 34, 25 and 2, a 9.18 save percentage, a 2.57 goals against average. Of course, Nashville Prers fans have seen Connor Hellebuck throughout his entire career, and he is incredible, and he has had some pretty good success against the Nashville Predators. Now, on the Nashville Predators statistical side of things, the top 3 scorers are out injured. That has just been very difficult for the Nashville Predators. They've definitely struggled to generate shots on net and to, of course, score goals. The captain, Roman Josi, 18 goals and 41 assists for 59 points. Matt Duchene, 22 goals, 34 assists for 56 points. Philip Forsberg, 19 goals, 23 assists, 42 points, all out of the lineup at this time. Then we fall to Tommy Novak, the current on-ice scoring leader for the Nashville Prers, 17 goals and 24 assists for 41 points, and then Glass at 14 and 19 for 33. UC Saros in net, 31, 22, and 7, 9.18 save percentage, a 2.71 goals against average. We're going to talk a lot about UC Saros on this episode of the Renegades of Puck podcast, and I'm going to make the case for why UC Saros absolutely deserves to be a Vezina finalist, and we're going to talk about that when we do the Rebirth Sports full game recap and the analysis coming up, and I believe the Renegades of Puck are all going to have something to say about UC Saros. The series he had against the Carolina Hurricanes this season, just simply incredible. One for the all-time books, one for the ages. Braves, and now UC Stars on the season. And 9.18 save percentage on a team that is in 5th place and outside of a playoff position, and a 31 total wins on the season. It's highly, highly impressive stuff what he is doing. That's got you all set up for the Nashville Prers going into Winnipeg to face off against the Jets. 4th and final regular season meeting between these two teams. A hell of a lot on the line concerning the wild card playoff race. Nashville Prers, Winnipeg Jets. You're all set for it. Now, let's go back and talk about the Rebirth Sports full game recap. We've got to go back and talk about the Nashville Predators hosting the Carolina Hurricanes.
Hockey players are as unique as the game itself, and your uniform should be tailored to fit you. Rebirth Sports is your sports apparel tailor. From shells, bags, warm-ups, hats, hoodies, branding, and more, let Rebirth Sports be your custom hockey tailor.
And don't forget to tell them they do more than just hockey.
Rebirth Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Rebirth Sport, a match made in hockey.